Alright, good morning. As usual, I'm very cheerful. Some people might say it's because I don't work and don't have any stress, but I do have lots of stress just dealing with my mother, my daughter, and my angry spouse. Actually, all three of those are angry people. But God sent me my son. So in this video, I will tell you what's going on in this week with the family, right? Alright, I just made two videos about pills that my spouse takes. Prednisone, right? And nitazoxanida, alright? So, what I got out of that was that these pills are giving her a painful womb. And I used to say to her, she used to tell me, me duele el vientre, which means my womb is in pain. So she didn't want to give me sex. So I used to say, oh, that's because of lack of sex. Now this is when we're walking around in the house or something, you know. And so the pills are actually giving her opinion, right? My opinion, the painful womb. Also, they prevent her from sitting still. They give her into hyperactivity. If you ask her what she does in the morning when she wakes up, it's almost like a racehorse. She's go, 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 go. Feeding the cats, feeding the dog. Well, not the dog. I feed the dog, and the dog doesn't eat breakfast. I don't know why. She feeds the inside cats. She feeds the neighbor's cats. She gets dressed. She makes breakfast. She takes the kids to schools. To the two schools. What else does she do? She gets dressed for work. And by the way, she always looks. There's the one quality. She's always perfect when she's dressed up. You know, she's like, her hair is perfect. But she just has no time to talk to Daniel. All right. So yesterday she asked me to cut the grass. I told her to give me 1 hour a day, not just for sex, but I'll just spend the time with me. Half hour in the morning, half hour in the evening, and she just blasted off. And then she's somehow my mother heard about it, and my mother told the spouse to go tell the neighbor to come cut the grass for $15, which he did. So when that was going on, I played basketball with the daughter. Now I didn't really play basketball. I just rebounded the ball back to my daughter. I didn't take any shots this time. I've changed my strategy for several reasons. One, this way my daughter gets more practice time instead of me shooting up the ball. I just pass it to her. I did get the chance to talk to her about, like, she was watching the movie Prison Break, the series, 9 o'clock at night when everybody's supposed to be getting ready for bed or something, reading. If it was my family and I was the boss, I'm not the boss, because if I tell them to do something, then my mother, the spouse, and the daughter complains, but the main two are the mother and the spouse, and they Baker Act me for trying to control the family. Like if I tell them to read a book or something like that, or to talk about their day. So the kittens. Yesterday was an interesting day. It was the first time I saw the two kittens attempting to have sex. And so the spouse had separated them. One was in the garage, one was in my mother's room. But that didn't work out, because even the boy cat is the one that everybody was watching. But snowballed. But actually, the girl cat, Mindy, whoo, excuse me, Mindy, what she did was she started yelling for the other boy, for the other kitten, and so my mother couldn't sleep. Today is Wednesday. That was yesterday. So that's what's been going on. Another thing, the spouse is angry because I won't take our son to the doctor tomorrow, which is today, Wednesday. And he has used a bunch of tissues. His nose is red, his runny nose. And this is what I say. Daniel says, spouse, you just want the doctor's note for school, which is true. She just wants the boy to be excused from school. And spouse, you blame Daniel for letting my son collect rain. Or we were collecting rain. I was collecting rain in buckets. And I was letting my son play with the water. So the spouse informed me that after 3 days, the mosquitoes grow. And she was telling me that that's the reason my son got sick. Besides my going to the park and exercising with the boy and so on. And then this is what my comeback to that. Of course she won't listen, so I don't tell her anything. It's just, I can tell you guys. Last Friday the spouse came home. She's the lunch lady now. She came home with a red nose and she slept late on Saturday and Sunday. Alright, which is unusual because she doesn't sleep late. She just gets up, gets dressed, and gets out of the house. And even, she's a Catholic, right? So even, she said she wanted to start going to church. But it was 12 noon and nobody was, she wasn't up. And I forced my son to stay in here in this room because I told him that Chuck Norris mentions the first defense is not to go over there and offend somebody. And so we were there at 8 o'clock in the morning eating breakfast, and the spouse got up and said we were making too much noise with closing the microwave door and bing, the noise alarm from the microwave. So we ate our food and we got out of there. But at 12 noon, he wants to go back over there. And I said, wait, don't do it. Don't do it. And he wants to be back over there. So, well, actually from like 10 o'clock in the morning, he wanted to be back over there. And I told him, what do you want? You want the cats? Let's go get the cats and come back in here. Because if you don't let somebody sleep when they want to sleep, they get angry. That's how I got Baker acted. On a Wednesday, both of my kids were home from school, and they were opening and closing a door, and they wouldn't let me sleep. And I usually got up at 2 o'clock back then in the afternoon. And so I went and I kicked the door 3 times. I told them, go to the living room, and I kicked the door 3 times. Then I got thrown in the hospital jail for doing that. Scaring the family or some other excuse. But to me, that's just grabbing a pencil and breaking it. Ugh! All right? So you have your anger, right? You break a pencil, but if it's a door or something bigger, then the police will say that you're doing something wrong to the family. But I didn't hit him with a belt, right? But if I would have grabbed the belt, I would have been better off. I would not have been thrown in jail or a hospital jail, right? I haven't been to jail yet. I'm trying to prevent that. That's why I stay in this room. All right. And the police officer said, let's just go get the doctor to check you out. Well, that doctor doesn't have any, he already has his mind made up. All right? So the doctor is not going to check you out. All he's going to do is say, take these pills. Now, the doctor doesn't know anything about you except what he read. Oh, he kicked the door and he hit the car with a bat. Now, I told the police officer, that was 3 months ago when I hit the car with the bat. And the car still works. And that was done just to show the spouse, actually show everybody in the world how badly the spouse yells at me. But that didn't stop her yelling, one, and that didn't stop her. Everybody else takes her side. Oh, he's physically aggressive. Not with her, with things, because things don't matter to me. You could, if it was legal, you could burn this house down. It wouldn't matter to me because I had my bicycle stolen so many times when I was a kid, while I was still on it sometimes, that I am not attached to physical things. You could break, like I have a beautiful picture here. That's probably the most attached I am to anything in this house. It's a picture of myself when I was 3 years old. And I could rip it up. But I'd rather not do that. I really enjoy looking at that picture. You know, it's the best Daniel possible at 3 years old. And I'll show you the picture. So what happens is, this little kid didn't have a dad to protect them or to teach them how to fight, to protect them from the bad kids at school. That's little Daniel there. We all have a little child. So this is probably the most attached I am to anything in this house. I mean, I have marbles. You can see I have marbles. Oh, I'm also attached to this egg, which is how I do my sewing, like for my socks or my shirts. It used to belong to my grandmother. But I'm not really attached to anything. I could throw these away. I'm only attached to people. And the older I get, the fewer people I'm attached to. I'm only attached really to my son. My daughter, I would love to be attached to her, like with my heart. But after being Baker acted for wanting to spend one day with her, it was her Christmas vacation, right? It was a Friday. I said, don't go to school, just stay home with us and we can read about Jesus. But the spouse, number one, doesn't want me to keep the daughter home at all. So I don't even talk to the daughter. I did tell her yesterday that instead, my goodness, this is my heart. It's my kitty cat. He jumped right through that window without. Hi, Snowball. Come over here so I can show you to the people. Alright, this is my kid, Snowball. Yeah, you're excited about something. So, last night I told her, instead of watching Prison Break, if you were my daughter and I was the boss here, I didn't tell her she would wash the dishes, but I would wash the dishes with her. Not by myself. That's why I don't cut the grass. I tell her, you want me to do it, then you give me something valuable. Not $15, all right, I would have done it for $15, but they didn't offer me money. And that actually got the spouse angrier, because she saw the young man and he's like ready to go to work. He says, I could do it now, you know. And then he told me about the young man, the neighbor. He told me about how he tried to buy a car from one of his friends. His friend gave him the title but wouldn't sign it. And then he won't let him pick up the car, and he's got the rest of the money, and he says, I don't know what's going on. He won't give me back the $200 I gave him, plus whatever else he had to come up with. So I told him that in my life I've noticed, and I read about an old man in the newspaper, that all the money that you loan people, they're not able to give it to pay you back. Like I owe my brother, my sister, my ex-wife, my girlfriend in between, the one from Panama, because She said that she paid for my trip to go to Panama. So at the time, I thought that she was giving it to me. But after we broke up, apparently she wanted the money back. Which is tricky. I wouldn't travel with any woman anymore. Because, as one coworker put it, he said, we drove from here to Louisiana, and I almost left her over there. And then when we got back to Florida, we got married. He said, but I almost left her over there. I mean, she was being such a pain that I almost left her. The only thing my Panamanian girlfriend did was put me at... I didn't like one thing. She took money. I think we were going to be there 2 weeks. And she had $200, was it? I forgot the amount, but she had $200. And I said, well, why don't we go for a walk and everything? And she said, I don't have any money. And I said, you don't have any money? And she said, no, I just gave it to my brother. We're here one day and you already gave all the money to your brother. I said, oh boy. So I didn't feel good about that. I mean, I liked her brother and everything, nice young man, but he was a fireman. But I didn't understand how not keeping any of the money at all. And then, for you that have not traveled, once you get to the airport to return to the United States, there's this thing called airport tax, which was $40 or $38 for both of us. And I didn't have any money to come back. And so, luckily there was an ATM there. She was able to get $40 out of there. Her parents didn't have the money. So these are things. If I ever travel again, which I will do, God willing, I will travel with my own money. And if any of these family members want to go, I'll meet you over there. But I'm not going to stay in the same hotel that you are. Maybe I'll stay in the same hotel. I don't think so. I just don't think so. No, I'm not going to travel with this family. I mean, I'll travel with my son. But traveling with women is a difficult thing to do. All right. You see, my son and I, we think alike. But the women, I tell them, don't wear high heels, wear something that you can kick with. And then they say I'm trying to control them. So I'm like, all right, you're going to be you're going to be what I call a stupid person. Don't wear high heels. Don't wear a purse ever whenever you're with me. All right? I grew up in Chicago. They snatched those things. Then you got to get me in trouble for fighting some guy or something. Don't wear a purse when you're around me. Don't wear jewelry when you go anywhere out of the country. Cut your hair short even, just up to here. Then I'm being too controlling. All right. So, and I've seen in Miami all of those tourists with their teenagers. The teenager is walking ahead, and then the father and mother are walking behind because they can't keep up. Or I've seen the other way, with the teenagers are looking down at the floor. They're not even looking at anything, and the parents are walking ahead. They're not having fun. Travel with someone you really, really enjoy spending your time with. My son and I, we like each other. Enjoy your life. Bye.